Louis Trin was a professor of radio wave engineering and an instructor to the French military, who knew that humanity's understanding of the invisible waves of energy around us was only in its infancy. He understood that just as humanity did not even know of the existence of radio waves until a mechanical detector for them had been created, that there were also a huge range of invisible waves which affect health, energy, and consciousness, which are too subtle to be picked up by standard electromagnetic equipment. To be able to detect and map these invisible subtle vibrations for the first time, Trin realized that the radiesthesia techniques from the French priests could be used to accomplish this research. Trin created a scientific pendulum with magnetic needles mounted to either side of a spherical body. The direction of the compass needles on the Trin pendulum allowed the pendulum to detect the movement of invisible waves which could not be detected by standard electromagnetic equipment. Now that he could detect and track these invisible life force energies for the very first time, Trin conducted research to see how to identify those energies which created health versus those which create illness and death. Trin had discovered an important method to start to identify the invisible energies that harm the health of living beings, which were completely unknown to us previously. With the new ability to test the direction of wave movement as a rough guide to toxicity, Trin then needed to identify the complete spectrum of all these invisible energies which are too subtle to be picked up by standard electromagnetic detectors. Trin created the foundation of what we can call today the universal vibrational spectrum, using the principle of angular refraction. Just as in modern optics, we know that the angle of refraction of white light in a prism determines the wavelength and the visible color of an electromagnetic wave, Trin was able to create pendulum detectors using various angles to detect roughly 11 bands of invisible life energies. At the ends of the spectrum were black and white, with indications that there was some further mysterious 12th energy at this alpha and omega point. The connected beginning and end points, which he had first referred to as infra-black and infra-white. Trin had now created the foundation for the universal vibrational spectrum. It's important to understand that although each of these bands are given the names of colors in the original French research, that visible color in light or physical matter is only one way that these invisible energies can manifest. As we will see in our next episode with modern biogeometry from Egypt, each of these vibrational bands can manifest as a completely invisible wave, or they can manifest as a shape in geometry, or they can manifest as a sound, or in a numerical sequence, or as an angle, or as a proportion, etc. Color, shape, sound, number, angle, proportion are all quality scales through which vibrational powers can manifest for practical application, in addition to their appearing as simply invisible energy waves. Trin then conducted decades of amazing research, which has been almost forgotten today. For example, he solved the mystery of why some temple locations in Egypt had the hieroglyphs on their temple walls defaced. He showed in his remarkable 1943 book, whose title in French translates to English as The Scientific Control of All Natural Waves. He showed that the hieroglyphs, when they were complete on the temple walls, with their boundaries intact, emanated a powerful energy wave from the shape of the hieroglyph. However, if the boundary of the shape was cut, as was done in some later time with a chisel, as seen here, then the hieroglyphs became energetically neutralized and were no longer effective energetically. He had discovered that hieroglyphs actually create energy emanations and were not simply for abstract communication. Trin discovered that the reason for the tradition that an upright cross was a sign of beneficial spiritual powers and an inverted cross a sign of harmful powers was that when the form of the cross is inverted, it reverses its energetic spin direction and thereby changes its effect on living energy fields. Trin also found a hidden energetic reason why 7 was considered a holy or sacred number. He found that if he carefully drew a circular spiral from the outside to the inside with exactly 7 full clockwise turns, it would then emanate a powerful carrier wave energy that could broadcast energy from one location to another. Trin showed a wide range of energy effects from artifacts gathered from China, India, and other classical traditions, in addition to Egypt, showing the level of hidden energy science found in these ancient traditions that can now be rediscovered through vibrational radiesthesia. Other French researchers followed up on Trin's early discoveries, completing the vibrational spectrum around 1933. Chaumeret and de Balazal were two researchers who investigated further the mysterious energies in between the ends of Trin's fundamental vibrational spectrum. By moving the spectrum from linear to circular, Chaumeret and de Balazal were able to discover a great spiritual secret, hidden for thousands of years, but known to the ancient Egyptians and other great cultures. A very powerful invisible energy which completes the vibrational spectrum between the black and white bands. This powerful wave appears opposite the green band energy in a circular configuration, leading to their naming this mysterious energy negative green. This name led to some confusion because in reality it's a completely invisible energy which never appears as a green color. It's the polar opposite of the visible green energy quality. If negative green were to appear to visible sight, it would appear as gray. The same as colorblind people today can only see colors as shades of gray, because humanity does not yet have a sense organ to perceive the true nature of negative green. Chaumeret and de Balazal were fascinated by the power of the invisible negative green wave and how it was used in ancient Egypt. They found it had the power to penetrate thicknesses of lead that cannot be penetrated by X-rays. Negative green has the ability to penetrate straight through solid matter, similar to neutrinos in modern physics, which pass straight through matter and straight through the Earth itself. Negative green is a carrier wave on which other vibrational powers can be carried, similar to music or speech being carried on a radio wave. Like every one of the 12 bands of the vibrational spectrum, negative green has both beneficial waves, which tend to propagate horizontally, and detrimental waves, which tend to propagate vertically within the band. The beneficial waves are essential to all life. They are the conduction power behind all life force itself. They may be the actual energy described in the Indian Vedic tradition as the divine feminine moving force of God, the Shakti. Shakti is ultimate energy, just as her consort Shiva is ultimate consciousness. The detrimental waves of negative green are the waves which literally bring death. Chaumeret and de Balazal found that the ancient Egyptians were the masters of this hidden energy science. They found that the Ankh is not just an abstract symbol that means life, as we're often told today, but rather it's an actual geometric energy projector designed to transmit beneficial waves of negative green from its base. The top of the Ankh projects the green energy quality, and the bottom projects negative green. These are two opposite powers. In ancient Egypt, the beings shown on the temple walls were called netters, meaning the conscious forces of nature. In old Egyptian depictions, the netters are shown interacting with human beings through geometric forms, which are projectors of precise energies. In some depictions, the netter is holding the base so that the top of the Ankh is held towards a person, which then projects the positive green energy towards them, often projecting that ray into the brain of a person through the sinus cavity. In other depictions, the bottom of the Ankh is used to project the negative green wave. Chaumeret and de Balazal proved and popularized a key discovery of French radiesthesia, that geometric forms project powerful subtle energy waves, which they called shape-caused waves. With the rediscovery of the complete universal vibrational spectrum, With new tools to detect and differentiate all the different bands, the different powers of these subtle energies, the French researchers had reclaimed the lost ancient energy science behind sacred geometry.